Well, howdy YouTube, Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. Today, we're going to have fun with our Dell R710 server. Our original Dell R710 server, the one with 3.5-inch drive bays, not the 2.5-inch drive bays. So, buckle up, Buttercup, let's get the video started right now. So let me explain what this video is going to be about today. As you know, I have that Dell R710 server. It's got 40 gig of RAM in it and 2 Xeon multi-core processors, and it's got right now I think 3 2-terabyte drives and 2 1-terabyte drives. Don't quote me on that. We'll see here in a minute how that machine is spec'd out. Right now I have Server 2019 running on it. I'm running it in a just to test it out. Very pleased with Windows Server 2019. It's based off of the same kernel as Windows 10. So there you go. The problem I'm having with these Dell servers is, one, they consume a lot of power, so I don't run them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. One of my Dell servers I do run all the time, and that is my primary server for all my VMs in my business. But I've got this other Dell sitting around, and it's not really doing much. So what I decided to do is set that up as an archival server, because I have all those hard drives laying around. So my thought is I just fill it with hard drives and I do my archival backups to it in addition to my offsite backups and use it like that. But in doing this series of videos, as you know, on my Windows 10 home NAS server that I have right behind me right now, I need a place to store the videos and the photos and the music that I copied off of my home NAS. And that's what I'm doing with this. And I figured I also needed Emby up and running so that, you know, happy wife, happy spouse, happy life, that I could keep the videos serving out to my audience here at home without any interruptions. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to share with you how well Emby runs on this older Dell R710 and how I have it configured, how I have the drive share configured and that kind of thing. So let's get into that video right now. Alright, so here we are on the Dell R710. You can see I've got Drive Bender up, I've got CPU Core Temp up and running, and I have Task Manager up and running. So this unit has two Intel Xeon E5640 Westmere processors running at 2.67 gigahertz. The unit has 40 gig of RAM, and it has a quad 1 gigabit Ethernet controller in there, and also a 10 gig Mellanox network adapter that we're not using right now, well, at least not for this video. So I've set this server up temporarily, and I put Drive Bender on here. And in this unit I have 2 of the older 2 terabyte drives out of my old NAS, and 3 1 terabyte drives. And this has basically been set up as an archival server for me to drag and dump stuff off my home NAS or my Synology NAS that I want to have an archival copy of, and that I can do backups off of as well. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. And Drive Bender allows me to pool all these drives together in a non-proprietary format and then share them out across the network. I've got Core Temp up and running so you can see what my temperature ranges run at. And I've got them in imperial measurements right now. In the United States we use the Fahrenheit scale, but I'll go ahead and turn this on to Celsius for my friends over in the European community. And there you go. So the TJ max in these processors is 95C, and they're running at 1% load, you know, very low. But the other thing I've done is, since I've got that Xminology NAS torn down and am converting it to a Windows 10 NAS, I have to have somewhere to host Emby. And so that's what I'm doing, is I'm hosting Emby on here as well. As you can see down here in the system tray, Emby server is up and running, and it's running well. So this allows me to play around with that, with my new NAS, or my NAS that I'm making behind me, and yet still keep video and audio serving up for other members of the household. And I just wanted to show you, this is how versatile these Dell R710 servers are. In fact, what I'm going to do is in the next shot you're going to see here, I'm going to actually start streaming a couple of high-def videos so you can see what kind of performance I get with with Emby on this Dell. So let me do that and I'll come right back. Now keep in mind that Emby and Plex both do very well when they have supported video cards in the machines in order to help with transcoding a video. Right now I have a couple of different videos playing. I have a high-def Guardians of the Galaxy is playing through a web browser on this machine that I'm using, and then I have an episode of Battlestar Galactica playing on the TV behind me, and it's playing well. It's not stuttering. You can see one of them is transcoding, and if you click on the information, it tells you the reason for transcoding is the subtitle format is not supported. And this happens if you rip your videos and they're not in a exact right format for whatever the device is you're playing on. So it is having to transcode, but it's only having to, and the way Emby works, the way I understand it is, it has to transcode both the video, the audio, and the subtitles, not just the subtitles. Now, on the other hand, Battlestar Galactica, because it's a non-HD video, it's a 480p, it is direct playing on the Roku behind me here. So just to give you an idea of how that's looking and how that's working. And so now let's switch over to the server, to the Dell R710, and see what kind of impact that's having on that server. So I've left my temperature locked in to measure centigrade or Celsius, and you can see now that the CPUs are getting a load on them. They are warming up, but they're nowhere near the TJ Max. So overall we've got about 18% CPU usage. Keep in mind one of the videos is direct playing and the other one is being transcoded. And the thing I really love about Drive Bender is that you can see the IOPS, you can see the read and the write speeds, and then I can even see what files over here are being read and written, and at what speed they're being read and written at. So Emby does a good job even on this Dell R710 server. Now my ultimate goal was to also put Plex on this server and to do a side-by-side comparison, but I'm not going to do that. And the reason I'm not going to do that is because I have no way of putting a video card in here that is supported by either Emby or Plex. It can be done, but it requires modifications to the server that I am not interested in doing. I would have to either get an 8X card that is supported by Emby or Plex, and it's good luck finding one. If you guys know of an 8X card that I could put in this server that pulls 25 watts of power or less, and that would actually let me take advantage of the graphics processor for Emby or Plex, I would welcome you to point me to that device, because the other option is I'd have to cut up one of my slots, put a 16X card in there, try to get some power off the power rails, and I really don't want to make those kind of modifications to this Dell R710 server. And besides that, I have other plans for this Dell R710, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you what they are right now. I plan, after I do all of this transfer of this data back over to my home NAS, is to actually put Unraid on this Dell R710 and to continue on with our series of videos on Unraid. So that is the plan for this server. But this just goes to show you what you can do with one of these Dell R710 servers. And when I do decide to put Unraid onto the server, it is going to be both an archival server and it is going to be able to run some applications. I'm going to run some Docker containers on it. I'm going to run some virtual machines on there and see over a period of 30 or 45 days how well I like Unraid. So far, I like Unraid a lot. But while I was doing all these series of videos, I decided I might as well show you this Dell server in action and the kind of performance you can expect from it. Now, these processors are okay, but they're not designed really to decode and encode, re-encode videos. They're just not good at it like a modern, Ryzen processor would be, or even a lowly i3 with a HD Intel QuickSync compatible video built onto the chip. Those tend to do much better with Emby and Plex than a server like this does. So there's no point in continuing to run Emby or Plex on this server. It is simply there as a stopgap measure while I get my home NAS up and running. So again, like I say, going to be running Unraid on this server in the long term, in the long run, and I'll do a video on that, showing you how I install it and get it configured. But you know, the beauty of these Dells is they're really, I bought them for virtualization, but I'm not doing as much virtualization as I thought I would be doing. Now I have tried installing FreeNAS on these Dells, but because of the type of RAID controller I have in there, I need to flash it into IT mode, and I'm just not willing to do that right now. I'm on the lookout for a pre-flashed H200 or H700 RAID controller that's already been flashed in IT mode, because I really don't want to. It just seems very complicated to do that, and I don't know that I'm up to that task. I have other things I need to do. So if you guys run across an H200 or H700 that's flashed into IT mode, let me know, and I'll consider doing a series of FreeNAS videos using these Dells. But when I try to install FreeNAS on these Dells, it gets to the controller part and goes into a loop, and I could not overcome that. So we are going to install Unraid onto this Dell R710 and see what kind of performance we get out of Unraid. And it'll allow me to fill all 6 drive bays with spinning hard drives and boot Unraid off of a USB. I've already paid for Unraid, so and I have promised a series of videos on Unraid. I want to kind of go back and look at some of Space Invader 1's older videos and see if I can replicate what he's done using these Dells. So it's going to be quite a long series of videos on the Unraid. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking it's going to be at least 2 or 3 videos centered around Unraid as it is, but this is a good stopgap measure while I move stuff around on my network and reconfigure it. You know, your mileage might vary, but this is how I'm using it. And you can see it's handling the load just fine. Got the video streaming right here behind me. So speaking of Unraid, I'll just put my face up here on the screen so you can see Unraid, or I'm sorry, Windows Server running in the background while we talk about this. The other nice thing about Unraid is that what you will do is you usually dedicate your largest drive to parity, and then your other drives become data drives. So I'll have a 2 terabyte parity drive in here, and then I'll have 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 terabytes total of storage with redundancy. And then this machine, while it's running Unraid, will become my archival server for archiving my files that I can't afford to lose, in addition to the backups that I do on my files. But this will be like an in-house archival location. And then I'll only need to bring this server up and run Unraid when I'm doing videos around it. That's specifically what this server is going to be dedicated to moving forward, is my Unraid series of videos. So there you go, YouTube. That's what we're going to be doing with this Dell R710 moving forward. And hopefully you'll turn in for those series of Unraid videos. It seems to be a pretty popular subject. I like Unraid. For the small amount of time I've used it, as you saw in our Unraid Unleashed video, we were able to get a Windows 10 virtual machine with a pass-through video card working. We won't be able to do that with this Unraid server because I don't have a video card that I can pass through the graphics on, but that's no big deal. But you know, we're going to do things like set up Windows 10 virtual machine on there, some Windows Server virtual machines, and take you through the steps of that. We're going to play around with some Docker containers. We're going to play around with some apps on it, maybe some automation, that kind of thing on this server, and just kind of really put it through its paces and see how Unraid behaves and performs on some of this older Intel equipment. So we have that to look forward to. So there you go. That's going to do it for this video. We hope you found it entertaining and informative, if not a little short and sweet and to the point. Donate if you're so inclined. We take PayPal, we take Patreon. Give us a thumbs up down below. Leave your comments in the comment section. What do you think? You think it's worth our time to put Unraid on it? I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are too. And don't forget to come back and see us, please. And take care of yourselves, and we'll see you on the other side.